Hello friends, hope you are having a wonderful time. In this video, we will be discussing zero rating of export of services as per UAE VAT regulations. Let us look at the conditions to be met for a supply to qualify as zero rate export of services as per Article 31A1 of the Executive Regulation. Firstly, the recipient of the services should not have a place of residence in the state, and secondly, the recipient should be outside the state at the time services are performed by the supplier. FTA had also issued a public clarification VAT P019 to clarify the interpretation of these two conditions, and we will go through these details in below. Condition 1. Place of residence of the recipient. The first condition of zero rating states that the recipient of service should not have a permanent or a fixed establishment in UAE. Permanent or a fixed establishment generally means a place where business is conducted generally with a sufficient resources. It also includes a place where noteworthy management decisions are taken or where the centralized management functions. In case of a multinational, there is a possibility that they may have multiple establishments within and outside UAE. In such a cases, it is essential to establishment the place which is the most closely related to supply. Let us understand this by a small example. If a company X in UAE provides services to a company Y which has a head office in the UK with a branch in UAE, in such a scenario, company X should carefully analyze whether such services are provided solely to the head office and are for the benefit of head office in the UK. In that case, the place of recipient of service will be the location of head office, that is UK. However, in case if there are services provided for the benefit of the UAE branch, then the UAE branch will be treated as the recipient of services. In case of situations where the services are received partially by the entities within and outside UAE, business should objectively consider the following indicators to identify which is the place closely related to receiving the supply. First indicator is which establishment is the contractual recipient. Second one, which establishment is the beneficiary recipient of services. Third, which establishment will receive invoices and pay for the services. Fourth, which establishment is instructing the supplier. Fifth, where services are in respect of any business conducted by the establishment in a particular country. In case of a natural person, the place of establishment is the usual place of residence of the person. Condition 2. Location of the recipient. The second condition for zero rating is that services are supplied to the recipient who is outside the UAE at the time services are performed. It is important to consider that non-resident recipient may lose the zero rated treatment if they are temporarily present in the UAE at the time services are performed, and which relates to the supply being made. FTA has clarified that to meet the above criteria, the following conditions should be fulfilled. The recipient should not have a presence of more than a month in a UAE at the time the services are provided, and the presence is not effectively connected with the supply. So this exception rule for a person to be still considered as outside UAE can only be satisfied if the presence is both short term and not effectively connected with the supply. Businesses should be mindful of the above condition before applying zero rating for cross-border services. If the above stipulations are not fulfilled and supplier is not able to establish the necessary facts to ascertain these conditions, then services should be treated as standard rated. Business should relook at their onboarding process to gather information regarding overseas recipients' footprint in UAE. The services contract should also be revisited to include stipulations for standard rating the services in case condition of zero rating are not fulfilled. Hope you guys had a good learning. Thank you for watching the video.